Good morning. This is Wednesday, April 29. I have to keep looking at the calendar because the days just kind of seem to flow together. So yesterday we talked about doing a word in 2-point perspective, and today we're going to show you how to do a word in 1-point perspective. The word we're going to use today is world, and as I think in terms of the world, it's like my thoughts go to, sometimes when something bad happens, you want to escape and say, well, I'll just pack up my bags and go somewhere else. Well, right now, we can't do that. We can't pack up our bags and go somewhere else and escape from this virus because it's all over the entire world. So we might as well stay here, be here for each other, and do the best we can until we can work our way through this virus, and we know that that will happen. So anyway, we're going to do the word world in 1-point perspective today. Okay, so in 1-point perspective, we're just going to start out similar to when we do 1 perspective in a box. We're going to have a box. Okay, so we're going to say we want to make sure that we have enough room to get our whole word on our piece of paper. So we want to make sure that our box fits inside the paper. And then we're going to do the word world. We haven't done a W yet to show you that as far as the different types of lettering. So we have to decide how to divide this into 5. Now we know the W is a little bit more, so the R would be in the middle, so that would be right about here. So we're going to give the middle just over this way, just a little bit. And so we're going to do, and just kind of estimate, dividing it out. There's the R, give a little space, and the L, give a little space, and if it's not even, you can move it over. So you're just kind of estimating right now, just to kind of divide that out into the number of spaces that you have so that you can have a W, O, R, L, D, world. All right, so we're going to take our letters and now we're going to divide them just like we did last week. As far as the W, we talked about has 5. So we're going to divide that by 5. Our O has 3. Our R has 3. L has 3. And the D has 3. So then we're going to just draw our lines down. All right, and it's a 3x5 block lettering, so we've got to have our dividing up into 5. So again, we're going to divide this by 5. Now, if you like to be real exact, you can measure it and you can figure out where exactly those divisions are by just taking the line and measuring it and dividing that on your calculator by 5. But for those of you guys know me, you know that I'm not quite that precise most of the time. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to divide and we're going to draw our lines. So we know that on our W, we're making 2 V's. So we're going to connect the dots. And make a V. Then we're going to turn and we're going to make another V just the same way. Now another way of looking at the W is you could think in terms of your first column has a slant this way and the next 3 columns have just an X in them. You could look at it that way also. Then we have an O that's going to have curves. We have an R that has some curves and has angles. L is pretty much on the line, and then D. All right, so we're going to take our Sharpie and we're going to outline it and be able to erase the lines that we don't need. You can pick whatever word you want, and if you're not sure about the lettering, you might have to go back to a previous video where we did all the different letters. You will get to where you know how to do the different letters just by heart, so you won't have to go back and look at the sheet. All right, so now we're going to do this in 1 point perspective. So first of all, we're just going to erase all these lines that we don't need, so that you can see the words a little bit better, the letters. All right, and we're going to do it in 1 point perspective. So down here, we're going to put just a 1 point. And we're going to take our ruler and we're going to put our pencil here, and we're going to move up and just touch the edges of where our letters connect. You can stop it when it's starting to go through another letter. Okay, like we talked about before, like the O, when there's no curve, you just have to find where it just barely touches. Keep moving around. Now at this point, you can go all the way down here, or if you do not want it to go all the way down, you can stop it by just figuring out how far away you want it to be, giving yourself a bottom line. You can erase all of this, and then we're going to take and go from here. This is the bottom of the D. We know that that's vertical, so we take our ruler, line it up, and move it over to make a straight line. So again, this one, we know where the L stops. We move it over to make a straight line. R, this one's slanted, so we take this point and we go down and we slant at that same degree. Now the R is pretty well straight up, so we don't see the side of that. The O comes down and it's curved, so we're going to have to just kind of curve this to match the same curve. So we're just going to kind of mimic it. The W is kind of slanted this direction. And then we're going to outline the lines that we want to keep. And some rough places on this ruler. Our lines, even using a ruler, aren't coming out straight. Okay, here we go. Almost done. All right, so we have the word done in perspective. See if I can move this more to the center. And you can take and shade in the parts that are darker to kind of add to the effect. And this is where you can add color to if you want to. This will be darker in here to kind of create the 3-dimension. And this is what you can do when you're just kind of watching your television. You can just kind of have a fun time, just kind of shading and practicing your shading, going from dark to light. Okay, so when you're shading, inside the letters could be darker, depends on where your light's coming from. But the one thing I wanted to show you is when you're doing a circle, you're going to shade and you're going to get, it's going to gradually, so you want your lines to kind of go the same way that your letters are going. So in this case, they're kind of going like this. And so if this is lighter, it might get darker to the edges. And you just put more pressure on your pencil, then a little lighter, and then it might get darker and it gradually goes up. Now, one of the things when you're using pencil that's really fun is that if you get it too dark, you can always use your eraser as kind of a drawing tool. And you can kind of erase some of your lines to make it a little bit lighter. Okay, you guys can continue to play with that, and we will work on, let's see, we're going to work tomorrow on, oh yeah, I'm going to show you how to use these letters, and we're going to do a wacky word composition. So be thinking of the word that you want to use. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Don't forget to wash your hands.